Hi everyone, Dr. Remy from Posturesize. Today we're going to be going over how to assess and design a workout program for your personal training clients to avoid injury based on assessing the 3 cardinal directions of stability. Hope you enjoy. So one of the biggest tips that I teach my personal trainers that I train and certify when beginning to assess and try to figure out how to program their clients' workouts to avoid injury and pain conditions is using an assessment and a program design based on the 3 cardinal directions of body stability. Typically, if you first meet with a client, doesn't matter what type of injury they've had, what type of pain condition is going on, it's a good thing to plug into your overall assessment a quick check of their stability. This can be done simply by standing on one leg and noticing if the client has a tendency to twist, either at the shoulders, the head, the pelvis. If the foot starts to pronate or lean in on its inner edge and the knee starts to twist, that's a rotational direction of stability. This may be complicated by a client that has a tendency to turn a leg outward, such as hip rotation, a knee rotation, an upper body rotation where the oblique muscles are more dominant on one side or the lat is more dominant on one side. You can also see if they have a more side-to-side or lateral instability. As they stand on one foot, you'll notice if one shoulder starts leaning low or the head tilts or the hip comes up or hip hikes so it's higher than the hip on the other side. If the foot goes totally inwards on its inner edge or outer edge, pronation or supination, and the knee follows, that's a lateral instability. That could be related to problems along the lateral system of fascia from the ankle right through the head. Could be related to muscles like the quadratus lumborum, the latissimus, erector spinae, a bunch of different muscles including the glute medius, hip flexors like the TFL that are dominant, that are throwing off this lateral stability. If you're not sure if you see this or not, if they look pretty good with their eyes open, have them close their eyes. You can also assess this during an exercise like the one-legged squat. That's a great exercise to find lateral stability. As they come down, you'll often notice the hip on the standing side will swing up and the rib cage will lean in. That's a sure sign of mid-body or core instability in the lateral direction. Exercises are going to be programmed then in their program design to help avoid injury based on that lateral stability. Also, a client may have a front to back or a flexion or extension dominant instability. You can again see this by standing on one leg. If they have a tendency to tilt forward or backwards as they do so, they'll have a flexion dominant instability, many times related to poor postural problems like slumping forward all day, or a lot of flexion dominant exercises like a Pilates routine that's not balanced with extension work. So they've overdeveloped the flexors in their bodies and they have a tendency to go into flexion. They're weak on the posterior chain. That's the targeted exercise program that we're going to use in those clients to help avoid injury. If conversely they have an extension dominant problem in terms of stability, you have them stand on one leg, you have them stand with their eyes closed, and there's a tilting backwards of the upper body. Many times with your older clients with spinal stenosis, spondylolisthesis, lower back pain, neck pain, knee pain, and hip pain, they're going to have an extension, a problem moving backwards. This can be related many times to weak glute muscles, because as the glute is weak, they passively try to throw their pelvis forward in a sway back posture. This is essential to know before you actually design a routine, because you're going to be taking exercises and modifying them and inserting them into the planes of motion or stability that are weak on them. This is essential to know if you're going to design your client's program, because you want to target exercises that address their dysfunctions. We not only want to strengthen weaknesses, but we want to strengthen proper function. We never want to strengthen dysfunction. So if a client has a forward to backward instability, a flexion instability is going to mean a lot of posterior chain work for that client to avoid the injury tendency of instability. For a client with an extension instability, like stenosis, spondylolisthesis, lower back pain, weak glutes, we're going to not only target glutes that are weak when the hip flies forward, but we're going to target abdominals, front planks. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff for abdominal core to help flexion strength. For those who are laterally dominant in their instability, we're going to include exercises that challenge laterally. We're going to be using a lot of side planks. We're going to be using cliffhangers. We're going to be using lunges and Bulgarians that challenge that tendency not to hip hike on that side. For rotational problems, we're going to be including in our programming exercises like chops and diagonal cleans and presses. We're going to be doing a lot more abdominal rotation work and hip rotational work in the routine, keeping in mind that we always want to target what their unique mechanics are and correcting their dysfunctions, which many times are at the root of their injuries. If you want to learn more depth in terms of how to assess clients and how to pick a program and modify exercises to help reduce their injuries locally, whether it's a hip, a knee, a lower back, a shoulder, or even an elbow injury, look no further than our Essential Crash Course for Personal Trainers available at the posturesize.com website. We've got a lot of great assessments, program design, and exercise modification tips so you can really zero in and design a program that helps support your client's own healing abilities by avoiding aggravating injuries and improving their biomechanics and sports performance. If you'd like to help me share this valuable information with others, give me a thumbs up below. Questions or comments, write in. I'll do my best to answer them. I hope this elementary video on client assessment and program design helps you in designing your client's personal training workouts to avoid injury.